This is one of those late night conversations. So if you're sensitive, this night may not be your live. How's everybody doing? All my sensitive people, this might not be it for you. But we're gonna try to make it through for all the grown and sick people out there tonight. Um, we talking real tonight. Dating, relationships, men versus women, the stuff people think but don't say out loud. So go ahead, hit that like button, tap in the chat, and let me know where you tuning in from. What's up? What's up, guys? We're gonna wait just a second, see if anybody else comes into the live. Okay, well, let's keep it moving. So we're gonna start easy, guys. We're gonna start easy on this one. Do you think dating is harder for men or women in 2026? Do you think dating is harder for men or women in 2026? What's up, everybody? Where you tuning in? What city are you tuning in from? Di Nelson, what's up? TV Grass Does Anything, what's up? Where you guys tuning in from? Where you guys tuning in from tonight, guys? It's a late night talk show, you know. But hey, what's good? This is one of those late night conversations. So if you're sensitive, you don't have adult ears, this might not be the live for you. You know, we talking real tonight. Dating, relationships, men versus women, the stuff people think but don't say out loud. So go ahead, hit that like button, tap in the chat, and let me know where y'all tuning in from. So let's start easy. Do you guys think dating is harder for men or women these days? The comments. A bunch of people got different points of views. JNC, what's up? Do you guys think dating is harder for men and women? Men or women these days? Spamming in the chat, y'all. Spamming in the chat. Do you think dating is harder for men or women these days? Them in the chat. If you think it's harder for men, put a W in the chat if you think dating is harder for women. What do you guys think? Austin Wilson, what's up? Austin Wilson with a gift. Come on, guys. Do you guys think dating is harder for men or women? Let's spam the chat. What's up, Austin? How you doing, brother? Do you guys think dating is harder for men or women? Put an M in the chat for men. Put a W in the chat for women. Somebody make him stop. Um, Austin Wilson said men. Anybody else, guys? Alexis Jamie said men. Anybody else? You guys think dating is hard for men and women? M in the chat for men. W in the chat for women. Okay. I see. Cowboy on VR. I'm sorry to hear that your dad has cancer. We're gonna give our condolences to him. Do you guys think dating is harder for men or women? This is the M for men, W for women in the chat. Thank you for subscribing, Austin. So we're gonna move along. We got two. Austin said man. Alexis said man. Anybody else? So let's keep it real. Dating today feels off. Here's why. If you want me to smoke some more, send a super chat, Lawrence. If you want me to smoke some more, send a super chat. So let's get back into the video. Let's keep it real. Dating today feels off. Here's why, guys. Too many options, social media influence. Nobody wants to settle down anymore. Everybody wants perfection. Back in the day, people built relationships. Now, people compare relationships. We all have seen it. You and your old lady live on Section 8, but she comparing your relationship to Jay Z's and Beyonce's relationship. She's comparing your relationship to Kim Kardashian and whoever she's dating relationship. You know, a lot of people doing that. Okay, so we're gonna ask the hard questions. Have you ever talked to someone who seemed perfect online, but were completely different in real life? Tell me in the chat, guys. Tell me in the chat. And have you ever met somebody? Yeah, like a catfish, basically. Yes. Pappy hunters, just like a catfish. Because a catfish, basically, if somebody, you think that they're this type of way, they gave you this image, but they're not the person who you expected them to be. So, how many guys have been basically catfished? Or ladies and guys. You met somebody online, and then they ended up being totally different. You know. Guys, we're gonna give you guys a couple more seconds, then we're gonna move on. Give you guys a couple more seconds, and then we're gonna move on. Because a lot of people can, like, it's different from actually seeing somebody in person and being with them, and basically they can pretend only so long, you know. But if anybody want to support the channel before we head back in, on super chats and gifts, guys, super chats and gifts. Lawrence, you have been placed in timeout for a day, so you cannot comment anymore. Um, so let's speak from a man's perspective, guys. We're gonna get into the men's perspective of dating and relationships today. Let me speak for the fellas for a second. A lot of men today feel like they're only valued for money. They can't be vulnerable because if you're vulnerable, you're weak or whatever. They're judged before they can even get a chance. How many of you guys feel that way? Like you're judged before you even get a chance. You're only valued for what you can make, what you can produce. You know. Austin said he definitely does. I agree. I agree also. Yes, it is a board 8 on my short shirt. Yes, it is, Green Dog. Chase Indiana said he's unsubscribing. Guys, if you guys don't subscribe to the channel, if you don't rock with the channel, you don't have to subscribe. If you guys want to support me, hit that subscribe button. But Chase Indiana said he's unsubscribing, and my thing is, why did you subscribe in the first place? Like, don't subscribing to people if you don't like them. Get to know them first, and if then decide if you want to subscribe or not. So your unsubscription, you unsubscribing doesn't affect me, you know. But I'm sorry that you don't like the channel, you know. It's crazy. If any of you guys support me and support the channel, let's get some super chats, guys. Super chats, gifts, super chats, and gifts. Austin, um, well, I appreciate you even more, Austin. You know, because you said you're broke, but you did send two gifts. You know, so I appreciate that. Okay, guys, we about to hop back into the topic. And some guys are just saying, guys, some guys are just saying, you know what? I'd rather be single. You know, a lot of guys are fed up with the dating market, and a lot of guys today rather be single than get married. Oh, happy 77th birthday, Jameson. Yeah, if you want to super chat, you can super chat through the comments. So now that doesn't mean all men, you know, all men are not saying that, but enough men notice what's really going on. Now let's flip it, guys. We're gonna flip it. A lot of women feel like men aren't serious anymore. Too much cheating. No, men don't have emotional maturity, and men don't have no consistency. So men and women feel have totally different outlooks on relationships today, but they're both basically negative. You know, they're basically negative. Um, so from their side, from a lot of women's side, a lot of women feel like, why commit if I'm not getting security or respect? You know, I don't know how many times we gotta hear that. You know, why should I commit to you? You know, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. You know, but men are like, no, we're opting out. You know, why get in it? Why risk my finances getting in a relationship? And honestly, women, just like men, women have a valid point also. You know, so ladies in the chat, what's something men think is okay, but actually is a red flag? Ladies, For all my ladies, hit the comments. Ladies in the chat, what's something men think is okay, but it is actually a red flag to you? Any ladies in the building? Any ladies want to answer that question? So the question is, what's something men think is okay, but it's actually a red flag for most women? What is something that men do that men think is okay that is actually a red flag to most modern women? If you want a shout out, send a gift or a super chat. Real unknown. What is something men do that's hard? I don't date men. Okay. Okay. And 5T said something. Constantine posted, said, I have no idea. I have to go. I can come back tomorrow if you make a lot of that. All right, Austin. Have a good night, brother. Thank you for coming to the channel and supporting the channel, brother. AJ, God bless you as well. So, what is something men think is okay, but is actually a red flag? What is something men think is okay, but is actually a red flag to modern women? Any women in the chat want to answer that question? What is actually a red flag that men think that is okay, but is actually a red flag to you? Mad Young Talk with a elf. Press elf. You know, I guess I failed in life. Goddamn, I don't get no A's, B's, and C's. I get F's. Thank you, Mad. Appreciate you. So let's say it again. What is something that men think is okay, but is actually a red flag for most modern women? All right, ladies, speak now, forever hold your peace. We're going to move on to the next segment. We're trying to get a woman's perspective. Trying to get a woman's perspective on what is something that men do that women consider is a red flag that that men think is okay, but it's actually a red flag to most modern women. Okay, we're gonna move on. Move on. I guess no women don't want to say, they ain't got nothing to say. So we're gonna talk about the expectation gap now. We're gonna talk about the expectation gap. Here's where things go left. Expectations for everybody don't match reality anymore. So people's expectation, a lot of people's expectations these days are delusional. You know, where you have a woman, you know, and she has two kids by two different baby daddies, and she thinks that she can get a single man with no kids who make $5,000, who make $500,000 a year. Dino, you earned yourself a 24-hour timeout. You'd have earned yourself a 24-hour time out for spamming the chat. Taz, if you want any advice on that situation, send a super chat and I'll give you some advice for that situation. Other than that, we're talking about how there's an expectation gap in relationships, and we're talking about where things go left and how a lot of people's expectations don't match reality anymore. Okay? So we're going to get into that. Some people, guys, some people want traditional benefits. And they want the traditional benefits with modern freedom. And that creates confusion. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Thank you, Taz. You have a good rest of your day too. So let's give an example. A woman might want a provider, but she don't want to cooperate. Have you ever seen? Can you imagine that? You're a man. You got it made. You got a piece of land over here. You got another property where you have your home. Then you have an address for your business, and your bank account is looking good. And most women want a provider, and you fit the qualifications of a provider. You're single. You're a bachelor. You know, and a woman gets with you and she don't want to cooperate. See, that's an example of wanting traditional benefits, but want modern freedom. So, or you want loyalty, but a lot of people are still moving around like they're single. DORSORO3. If you want me to answer that question, send a super chat. If you want me to answer that question, send a super chat. So guys, that's basically mismatch. It's basically mismatch. And a lot of times, this is the main reason why that's breaking up relationships. You got people got some of the craziest expectations these days. Craziest expectations. But be honest, guys. Let's be honest. Are people asking for too much these days? Are we at the point where people are asking for too much these days? So we're gonna do a little story time for people who want to share. Um, you know, let's get into some stories. Drop your worst dating experience in the chat. Drop your worst dating experience in the chat. Anybody had bad dating experience? Drop your worst dating experience in the chat. Hey, Bay 510 area. If you can't super chat or support the channel, you shouldn't be able to troll. Okay, if you broke it in a joke, the Bay Area, stop trolling. Only thing you're gonna do is get put in timeout, buddy. That's all that's gonna happen. You're gonna get put in timeout for the rest of the day. So, can anybody drop their worst dating experience in the chat? All right, we're moving on, guys. We're moving on. We're talking, but we're talking bad dates, ghosting, cheating, caught cheating, whatever. So we're gonna get into a couple more questions. Can you talk to multiple people at once? What do you guys think? Is going through someone's phone ever okay? How do you feel about that? Can a relationship recover from cheating? I go through my wife's phone. Talos said, I go through my wife's phone all the time. And I want to ask you a question, Telos, the king. Um, why do you go through her phone? Like, do you actually be looking for something in her phone? Like, trying to see if she's cheating or whatever? Like, why do you go through your wife's phone? Just a personal question, because I'm married too, and I don't go on my wife's phone. If you want to answer that. Why do you go through your wife's phone? If she's acting suspicious, then I look. So you said, so basically you're saying, what's up, Jay? My boy Jay's in the building. So basically you're saying, um, if your wife is acting suspicious, then you look through her phone. So, um, in your prior question, you had said that you go through your wife's phone all the time. So, is that is does your wife act suspicious all the time? Yeah, Jay said that's simp behavior. And my boy Jay said it's very feminine for a man to go through his wife's phone. No, I'm trying to get Taylor's side on this. You know, like I want like this, and that's it's a good question. It's a good question. Like, um, you know, is going through your significant other's phone ever okay? So Taylor said it's every other month or so. I caught her doing things. Oh shit. So what type of things? So have you caught her cheating? Is the question. What type of things have you caught her doing? Like when you come from work, do she have on booty shorts? You know, like what type of red flags was she doing that you caught her doing over the time? You know, like I said, I learned a long time ago that if you go around looking for something, you're gonna find. You know, you probably find something that you don't want to see. You know, so I just choose not to. I choose not to go. You know, I don't want nobody going through my phone. I'm not perfect either. You know, I might be looking at some titties. You know, or whatever on my shit. I'm not about to go through your shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you going through, because if you go through, my thing is, I feel like that if you go through a woman's phone, don't be surprised when she go through yours. Don't be surprised when she go through yours. You know, because most men, even though we're in relationships, we're still attracted to chicks, and we be on Instagram looking at women in bikinis, all that shit. Taylor said, yes, I caught her cheating, so I don't let her talk to guys at all. And if I see that, then I read the messages. Yeah, Taylor said, if you caught your wife cheating red-handed, I don't understand why you're still in a relationship with this woman. I don't understand why you're still faithful to her. You know, why are you still faithful to her? Matter of fact, you're going to have to pay a toll to the channel for this game I'm about to give you. You're going to have to pay a super chat to this channel. Support the channel, Talos. Send a super chat. You know, send something with monetary value. Or if anybody else want me to give him the raw hard truth, if anybody else want me to give him the raw hard truth, then send a super chat or send a gift. Um, Talos the King said, "Cause we're married and have kids, so it's forever." So, you know, I want to give you some advice, but I want to give you some advice. If you want to hear what I gotta say, if anybody want to hear what I have to say, which is real, send a super chat, send a gift. Come on, guys, because I want to tell them. I wanted to tell them. You know, and a lot of people might learn something from this from, you know, if you're in the same situation. So we're gonna move on. I could walk in on her with 5 dudes. He trolling you. You fucking trolling me. Talos is trolling me. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. He's trolling. I'm done with this shit. I'm not even. I'm glad I didn't answer the question. Nobody super chatted anyway. Yeah. Yeah. He trolling. This dude is trolling like fuck. I could walk in on her with 5 dudes in bed and couldn't divorce her. It's a commitment. All I can do is fix it. He trolling me. This dude trolling me. I'm done with you. I'm about to hop off the live. I'm about to. The live is over. It's about to be over. If anybody want me to stay in this live and keep it going, send a super chat or gift. Other than that, I'm gonna call it a night, guys. You know, Talos to troll me. Jerry, if you want me to play a song, send a super chat, brother. Jerry, if you want me to play that song, send a super chat. Yeah, I think Talos is trolling, Joseph. So when you super chat, basically in the comments, you're gonna see that cash symbol, and they're gonna say send a super chat, and you just put in how much you want to send, and then if your card is already hooked up to YouTube, then it should be easier. Takes only a couple seconds to do. If you want shout out, send a super chat or a gift. Alright guys, we're about to end the live. I'm gonna holler at you guys on the next video. Over and out.